You've probably seen her in photos, standing near her brother, North Korea's leader Kim Jong-un, often with a slight smile. That's Kim Yo-jong. But here's the thing. Behind that quiet exterior, many experts have a very different title for her: the world's most dangerous woman. So, let's get into why.
For years, she was just a face in the background, totally silent. And then 2020 happened. She dropped her first ever personal statement, and it was this. This wasn't just a political jab, it was a bombshell that completely shattered her image and let the world hear her real voice. So how does that happen? How do you go from a seemingly quiet, behind-the-scenes figure to the person everyone's afraid of? That's the real question we're going to dig into. It's a journey from invisible princess to a political force you absolutely cannot ignore.
Okay, so let's start with the moment that really put her on the map. It was a crisis that could have brought the whole regime down, but for her, it turned into an opportunity.
So picture this. It's April 2020, and Kim Jong-un just disappears. He's gone. For weeks, nothing. The media goes into a frenzy. Intelligence agencies are scrambling. Is he dead? Was there a coup? And from North Korea, there was just this deafening silence.
And then, boom, someone breaks the silence. But it's not the state, it's a personal statement from Kim Yo-jong herself. And it's not a calm, reassuring message, it's a raw threat. The message couldn't have been clearer: there is no power vacuum here, I'm in charge.
A few weeks later, Kim Jong-un pops back up. Perfectly fine. But things were different now. His sister was immediately put back into the Politburo. And you have to understand, that's the absolute inner circle, the highest level of power. This wasn't just a pat on the back. This was proof. She wasn't just an assistant. She was a core part of the regime's power structure.
So you might be asking, where does she get this kind of authority? To really get it, you have to go all the way back to their childhood, to a bizarre, secretive upbringing that basically forged an unbreakable alliance between them.
Back in the 90s, she and her brother were sent off to school in Switzerland. They had fake names, lived in a regular apartment, but it was anything but normal. They were watched around the clock by bodyguards and officials. Imagine being a kid totally isolated thousands of miles from home. All you have is each other. That experience created a bond of secrecy and trust that became the bedrock of their power.
So when they get back to North Korea, she doesn't just get handed some fancy title. No, her rise was quiet, calculated, moving from the deep shadows right into the spotlight.
She didn't just grab power. She built it, piece by piece. First, she was essentially her brother's chief of staff, managing everything. Then she gets the official title, Vice Director of Propaganda. But pretty soon, everyone knew she was the de facto chief, the real brains behind crafting his godlike image, before finally getting her seat at the big table, the Politburo.
And this right here, this is the moment the outside world officially put her on notice. In 2017, the U.S. Treasury sanctioned her directly for human rights abuses and censorship. This was a huge deal. It was America saying, "We see you. You're not just following orders, you're one of the ones giving them."
You see, she's mastered playing two different people, the smiling diplomat for the cameras and the ruthless enforcer behind closed doors. And that history of enforcement, it's written in violence.
This timeline is, well, it's chilling. To stay in power there, you have to be absolutely ruthless. She's widely believed to have ordered the execution of her own uncle. And the reason? He reportedly didn't clap hard enough. Let that sink in. Then there's the assassination of her half-brother, Kim Jong-nam. And her aggression isn't just kept in-house. In 2020, she personally ordered the destruction of a liaison office, a literal symbol of peace with the South. And her words have gotten just as violent, calling a U.S. president an old man with no future.
And this just lays it all out, doesn't it? It's like looking at two different people. On one hand, you have the charming diplomat at the Olympics talking about peace, and on the other, you have the enforcer who literally blows up the peace office and calls her enemies things like scum and filthy worms. One face is for the world, the other is for maintaining absolute control. So, what does this all mean for where she stands today? Well, all the signs point to one thing. She's not just building her brother's power anymore, she's a co-ruler in everything but name.
Think about this for a second. In just the last couple of years, she's put out more than 40 official state statements in her own name. That used to be a job only for the supreme leader. She's not just an advisor anymore. She's become the official voice of North Korea.
And because of that, experts don't even talk about her as a potential successor anymore. No, they see her as the de facto #2 leader right now. She is, for all intents and purposes, a co-dictator. And when it comes to who's next in line, there is zero ambiguity. High-level defectors, people who are on the inside, all say the same thing. If Kim Jong-un dies, power goes directly to her. His own kids are way too young to rule. She is the undisputed, ready-to-go heir.
Which leaves us with a final and, frankly, pretty unsettling thought. The world used to see her as just a sidekick. Now we know what she is, a powerful, ruthless leader in waiting with a proven track record. The question isn't if she will rule anymore, it's when. And what on earth happens when the world's most dangerous woman officially gets her finger on the nuclear button?